Hi, this is Dan Cragen. Welcome to Viggen Tweets. This is not a build video, this is just some tweaks we've done to augment the flight test build video for the FT Viggen. Hold on to your seatbelts, we're going to go kind of fast. These suggestions will loosely follow the same order as the flight test videos. The first thing you do is build the wing, and they recommend a glue spar. However, if you're going to make a 70mm jet out of this thing, go ahead and put a carbon fiber spar in place. When you do that, be sure you cut a little trough off the pre-cut slits so that the spar will fit without binding. That's our first hint. Like all hints, you don't have to follow these. These are things we've learned through building about 20 of these Viggens. In this picture, you see some extra spars going towards the wingtips. These are optional and probably aren't needed until you bend a wingtip when you land, and then you can put the spar in. For the battery box, I've found that putting a piece of 1/32 inch plywood in the bottom of the box helps when you put Velcro down later. It won't tear loose easily from the paper that was there. Remove the paper before you put the plywood on. For the motor area, I like to run the wires inside the fuselage instead of across the top on the spine. If you run it across the top on the spine, it ends up being very difficult at a later date changing out servos or a motor. Also, running the wires through the spine makes it very difficult to put the tail on later, and we're going to add a rudder on, which is even going to make it more crowded up there. So run it through the fuse if you can. This becomes a problem because then you got to bind the wires to the side of the fuse, or else risk one of them flopping loose in flight, and that means you got to put little sticks on the side to hold the wire bundle onto the fuselage. You can get creative with this and make it neater than what you're seeing here. In fact, if you do a neat job, you won't be able to see the sticks at all. Here's one that's camouflaged pretty well. Here we have several things going on that are kind of important. See the tabs? There's pieces of tape over those tabs so that they'll fit on the wing easily when you start to glue them on. You're going to find that you're going to be rushing to get the wing on without the glue setting. These tabs, when you tape them, help you make alignment easier. Also notice that the servo extensions are taped so they don't come loose in flight, and you'll also notice that one of the wing servos is crossed over the motor and into the main wiring bundle to keep everything in one bundle. Here you see a shot of the rudder servo extension coming up in and be running down the spine and hooking up to the rudder servo. We use a rudder on these a lot. They're nice for hovering and for doing really slow aerobatics when there's little wind going across the wings, and the rudder helps with the ailerons to make a turn. The size of the rudder is about 1.5 inches at top, and a vertical line is dropped down till it's about 1/3 of an inch above the top of the spine. Also, put a barbecue skewer up the vertical stabilizer. That'll help strengthen it after you've weakened it by carving that rudder in. And, hot glue the edges of the foam so the paper doesn't come loose, and all the standard tips that FliteTest gives you. Well, we're about at the end of the hints. The last one I have for you is put a piece of tape on the canopy, put a piece of tape on the spine, and then put another piece of tape across the top with a little fold in it so you can get it loose easily. This will keep the canopy on. It'll come off after a while if you don't do something like this. It gets loose. There are probably many more tips, but I've given you a few. Here's me launching the Viggen you saw in the build video. You'll notice that I'm launching it over high grass in case it flops on the maiden. It didn't. I'll leave you with some footage of some of the guys in the club flying low and slow with their Viggens.
Are we on camera?
You are. Notice how that tree just keeps getting closer? That was formation.